Hello there. My name is Lyndal Khaw, and I'm an assistant professor of family and child studies at Montclair State University in Montclair, New Jersey. Together with my co-author, Dr. Jennifer Hardesty at the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign, we have published an article in Family Process on the perceptions of boundary ambiguity in the process of leaving an abusive partner. This topic has certainly been a passion of ours and extremely relevant to what's been going on in the world recently, especially with cases like Rihanna and Chris Brown back in 2009, and even more recently with the case of the Baltimore Ravens football player Ray Rice. Now, in both of these high-profile cases, one thing emerged on many people's minds, and that is, why doesn't she leave? And she being the survivor or the victim of intimate partner violence. Well, we know from research on intimate partner violence that leaving is a difficult process that often takes time. There are multiple reasons why an abused woman might not leave her partner, including fear of the abuser, children, as well as finances. And our study offers another possible barrier, which is boundary ambiguity. Very briefly, boundary ambiguity is a construct that's discovered by Pauline Boss that explains the incongruence of physical and psychological absences and presences. Type 1 boundary ambiguity, for example, is when a family member is physically absent but psychologically present. Conversely, type 2 boundary ambiguity is when someone is physically present but psychologically absent. Now, boundary ambiguity has never been explored in intimate partner violence relationships before, but it has been explored in many other stressful family situations, including separation and divorce. In our study, we used Prochaska and DiClementi's stages of change model that includes 5 different stages to investigate the different types and indicators of, as well as the responses to boundary ambiguity throughout the different stages in the model. Using constructivist grounded theory methods, we conducted interviews with 25 abused mothers who were at different stages of leaving their abusive partners. Based on our results, we did find the presence of boundary ambiguity in the process of leaving for the sample of mothers, and interestingly, they took form in different ways. For example, in the middle stages of leaving, we found that mothers experienced type 2 boundary ambiguity, where they were still physically present with their partners, but began to disconnect psychologically and emotionally from the relationship. Here, the indicator of that would be mothers' narratives about their shifting priorities. For example, one of our participants said she had a definite shift from not wanting to die to wanting to leave. So here you see that shift in priority in terms of prioritizing their safety and their children's safety over previous priorities such as keeping the family unit together. Another key finding that we found was that once most mothers physically left, they were then reconnected psychologically to their partners, and that created a situation of physical absence but psychological presence, which is a type 1 boundary ambiguity situation. What happened then was that the experiences of mothers, for most mothers in our sample, was that they started to fluctuate in terms of their absences and presences for most of them because they left multiple times. It took multiple attempts for these mothers to leave. These fluctuations affected how they responded to boundary ambiguity, but ultimately we found that these fluctuations drove most mothers to eventually permanently leave their abusive partners. Now, why is this study relevant and important to practitioners? Well, 2 main things we would like to highlight here. First, our study shows that the process of leaving is highly complex, which is very consistent with previous research on the process of leaving, but we also extend that work by showing how systemic this process really is. It really is not just an individual process. Indeed, our results show that different types and sources of boundary ambiguity emerge in the process of leaving, and so it could be helpful for practitioners working with abused women to acknowledge and be mindful of the possibilities of boundary ambiguity as a possible cognitive barrier to leaving an abusive partner. The second implication I would like to highlight is the potential to utilize Boss's applications to address boundary ambiguity in a domestic violence intervention and prevention setting. For example, practitioners could potentially help women tolerate the ambiguity by adopting dialectical thinking. This may help women become open to the idea that their partner is both gone and still here and become comfortable with this idea. This acknowledgement may actually be the first step towards breaking the cycle of denial that many abused women do encounter when they are initially in the process of leaving. I certainly hope that this video abstract has been informational to you. I would appreciate any sort of feedback and comments regarding our paper and the study. If you'd like to contact me or have any questions, my email address is Khaw, L-K-H-A-W-L @mail.montclair.edu. Thank you.